What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Today we're talking about the possibilities of Sly Cooper 123 being remastered for the PlayStation 4. So, Sly 123 was a phenomenal game. They were amazing. They were one of the big hitting points, one of the big selling factors of the PlayStation 2 way back when. And then they led to Sly 4 happening, and now a movie and a TV series. But there's a problem with that. Those games are 12 plus years old. So there's a lot of people that don't know anything about those games. Because, those people that were born in 2005, they didn't really truly come around to gaming until probably about 2008, 2009. And we were already well into PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 by then. So they didn't really, go back and play the Sly Cooper games unless they had like an older sibling or something, or if they started out on PlayStation 2. You never know. But that's a lot of people, that's 12 years old and younger that play games nowadays that have no idea what Sly Cooper is. Just like they had no idea what Crash is, even though Sly is still relatively younger than Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it is younger than Crash, but it still would face the same problem. Like, if there was a new Sly 5 that came out right now, it would face the same problem that Crash Bandicoot 4 would have faced if they hadn't had the remaster. And that's right, I said Crash Bandicoot 4 because after the first 3 Crash games, there was never another proper Crash game. There wasn't another proper one. They did that open world 3D BS type stuff. The way they did it originally, that was Crash, And if they had never remastered it and they released a new Crash next month, yeah, the older fan base, we would be rejoicing like crazy over it. But, the younger fan base, which I'm talking at this point, 2000 and younger, they wouldn't really have an idea of what Crash is, They wouldn't care about Crash like we would because they would have never experienced it. Similar to how the younger fan base would have never experienced Sly. So they would have to remaster it first and then release it, and then they would get hooked on it too, like we did, all those years ago. And then that would lead to a new Sly game because they would see the popularity of it going haywire, just like the popularity of this new Crash game or the remaster of Crash going haywire and wanting people to go out and remake Spyro. And there's other games that's even been talked about that they might remake, which I think would be really freaking awesome. Like, there's some games that I would like to see remade that you probably not thought of in 10 million years. Remember Tak? I would love to see those games remastered. Remember Ty the Tasmanian? I would love to see those remastered too. But that's not gonna happen because those fan bases are gone. Gone. But the Sly fan base is still there and it's still strong. And a remaster would only push more excitement for the movie and push more excitement for the TV show. Because think about it. If the Ratchet and Clank movie had came out 10 years ago, right around the time Ratchet and Clank Future 2 came out, or no, the first Future came out right about 10 years ago, then that movie would have sold and done a whole lot better than it did now. Similar to Assassin's Creed, that movie did horrible, but had it been released around the time Assassin's Creed 2 came out, before they killed Assassin's Creed, because, Ubisoft, they ruined Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed 3. Once Desmond's story was over, Assassin's Creed was over. They're never going to recover from that unless they bring back Desmond. So, if they had done the movie then, it would have been phenomenal. And I think that's what worrying them now about the Sly Cooper movie because of the Ratchet movie doing so bad. But here's the problem with that. Ratchet and Clank was kind of milked, They didn't let it have a long hiatus and then bring it back like crazy. There was legit, a Ratchet Clank game come out just a few years before the movie. Well, I mean, not a few years, but relatively close to the movie. So if they re-released I keep biting my gum. If they re-release the Sly games right now, 1, 2, and 3, that would bring up more popularity and more hype for the movie. More people would be excited for it because people would play through those games and remember why they loved Sly to begin with. And if those 3 games get remastered, they would be like the first proper Crash. Why would I keep saying Crash and Spyro? They would be the first proper Sly game since 2005. Because you might not agree with this opinion. Let me know in the comments if you don't agree with it. But I don't think Sly 4 Thieves in Time was a proper Sly game. I really don't. I didn't feel like Sly to me. I mean, yes, I liked it, but I wasn't able to sit down and enjoy it. I had to force myself to play through it. And that seems to be a case with a lot of people. Because yes, Sim Zero, they did do a good thing, but it wasn't Sly. It wasn't Sly. To me, it kind of felt like the way Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier felt. It was not, just wasn't Sly. But if they remastered these games and then Sucker Punch or somebody that, is deep with the Sly series took it back over and made another one, then, that game would be phenomenal. Because think about it. If Jak 4 came out next year after the remasters coming out at this year, it would sell like crazy. If Ratchet and Clank did the same thing, boom, sell like crazy. And that's proven time and time again. That's why Metal Gear Solid stays relevant even with younger people. Like, I'm talking like 7 years old to like 13, 14 years old. The ones that are a little bit too young to really have been there in the beginning, but since they keep remastering and re-releasing the Metal Gear Solid games, it's never going to die. I mean, yes, Kiefer Sutherland did ruin it, but that's just a Kiefer Sutherland curse. Everything he touches, he ruins. But if they hadn't have done that, and they kept remastering these games over and over and over, they could have kept Metal Gear Solid alive until way past the times we were dead. Like, all of us watching this video could be dead, and they would still be making this same game over and over and over. It's similar to how Skyrim does it, Bethesda keeps re-releasing Skyrim, keeps keeping Skyrim hyped up. They're not giving Skyrim a chance to die. There's even talks that there might be a Skyrim movie. So if Sly Cooper started doing this and started re-releasing the trilogy in a full remastered, upscaling, completely different shaders and textures, they could potentially revitalize the series and bring it back for another good 5, 6, 7 years, And I think that's kind of like what we all want. We all want proper sequels to our childhood games. There's so many games on PlayStation 2 that we're going to be covering over the next couple months that needs a full remaster. I'm not talking HD upscaling 1080p, 720, whatever you want to do. Even though if you upscale the game to 720 now, it'd kind of be useless. But anyways, there's so many games that need to be remade. And Sly Cooper is one of them. And with the movie and TV show coming up, it would benefit greatly off of it. Because look at me this way. What would you do if, let's say, Harry Potter and the Phoenix Stone, or whatever it's called, the 6th book with the Phoenix, I don't know what it's called, I don't really care about Harry Potter, if it had started and that had been the first movie and they had just completely ignored the first 3 movies, or let's say the first 3 movies came out in like the 80s and then the 4th one came out with a different character, or not a different character, but a different person playing Harry, and everybody came out like 30 years later, would it sell good? No, it would not. It would be like kind of like Bionic Commando in a way. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that came out about 10 years ago, and it carried on from the Bionic Commando story from the 80s. And it didn't sell too good because they didn't remaster or re-release the one from the 80s in any way, shape, size, or form. So people had lost the ability to care about it. And I don't want that to be the case with Sly. They really need to re-remaster and re-release these games before the movie comes out. Because think about it. If you have the option to make not only quick money, but more hype for your movie, would you not do it? Because, let's think about it this way. If Red Faction came back and continued off of the story from Red Faction 2 and went straight into Red Faction 3, that wouldn't make any sense, and it wouldn't sell good because they had already moved on and moved past Red Factions 1 and 2's story. They moved on to Armageddon and Guerrilla, and I think there's another one. So if they did that, that would be a financial failure. So it could potentially be a final nail in the coffin for the Sly Cooper series if this movie doesn't do too hot. And I don't want that, you don't want that, none of us want that. So in my opinion, this probably became more of a rambling video, I guess, so I apologize for that. But I really do think now is the time for them to remaster those games in the same style that Crash Bandicoot was remastered. Because just imagine how good it would sell. Sly is arguably more popular than Ratchet and more popular than, Jack and even Crash Bandicoot. So if they did this and they remastered them, just imagine how well it would sell. Even if they remastered one a year and then at the end of the fourth year they announce Sly 5 or they say the Sly movie's finally coming out. Just imagine it, Like, you wouldn't sell chicken without the meat and just sell the crust, would you? That's kind of like what would happen if they made the movie and the TV series without ever having hyped it up with the remasters. And that's my biggest fear with Shenmue 3. Like, legit, the only people that are still excited and, like, anxiously waiting for this game are us, the younger, or not the younger, but the older crowd. Even though I'm not really that old, I'm only 19. But those of us, like, late 90s and older, we kind of are going to be the lifeblood of that game. If Sega does not remaster Shenmue 1 and 2, then Yu Suzuki's project is going to be 100% failure. And I don't want that. And I don't want that for Sly either. So they need to make the remaster. Let's make I don't know what it's called, like a White House petition or something, and try to get Sly Cooper remastered. But anyways, before I ramble too far into this video, we might continue it one day next week in a part 2. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, if it's a good time for the remasters to be released. Let me know how you felt about it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and smack that subscribe button. My name is CRUZANDO. Try not to die, and I will see you in the next video.